By using suitable substitution, solve the following quadratic equation. So it's quadratic because it has a power of 2. That's the giveaway here. And then it goes down to degree of 1 and then a constant. So that's telling me that it's a quadratic. Now we don't solve quadratics when it's looking complicated like t minus 6t or 6 over t. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to substitute u in for t minus 6 over t. So I'm taking my t minus 6 over t, and I'm going to change that or substitute that in with a letter, and I'm going to call it u. Now you can call it any type of substitution, you can use any letter to represent it. I'm just calling it u. And then when I sub that into my quadratic, I'm now changing what's inside the brackets, and I'm changing it for the letter u. So I'm just substituting in u instead of t minus 6 over t. And you can see here now that this is basically a quadratic equation. We're used to looking at it with x's, I just have it with a u. And all I have to do now is solve that. So I can take out the brackets there, so that's u squared minus 6u plus 5 is equal to 0. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solve it. I don't need to use my minus b for this one. This is quite straightforward to do. So what are the numbers that multiply to positive 5 and add to negative 6? That's giving me a u multiplied by u, and that's giving me a minus 5 multiplied by a minus 1, because minus 5 by minus 1 is positive 5, and minus 5 take away 1 is minus 6. So therefore, u minus 5 is equal to 0, u minus 1 is equal to 0. If I add 5 to both sides or move the 5 over, I get u is equal to 5, and u is equal to positive 1. Now unfortunately we're not finished, because we now have to come up and solve for t. The question wants us to solve for t in this particular question, and I need to do it out twice for both answers that we achieved for u. So therefore I'm now going to have, I'm bringing back up my t minus 6 over t is equal to u, and I'm now going to change that to t minus 6 over t is equal to 5, because that's the answer I got for u. And I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to go t minus 6 over t is equal to u. This time I'm subbing in my positive 1 for u, and I'm solving this. Now I have 1 on the bottom, or sorry, t on the bottom of my fractions now, so that's the same as me putting these over 1, t over 1, 5 over 1, and I'm going to multiply across by t because my common denominator here is t. So I'm going to multiply across by t, so that's giving me t squared. So I'm multiplying by t, multiplying by t, and multiplying by t. So that's getting me t by t is t squared, t by 6 is 6t, but I divide that by the bottom, the denominator of t, which is just giving me minus 6, is equal to 5 by t, which is 5t. And I come over and I do the exact same thing for the other side. I put them over 1. Common denominator once again is going to be t. So I'm multiplying across by positive t, and t by t is giving me t squared. T by minus 6 is minus 6t divided by t, which is minus 6, equals to 1t. I'm going to move everything to the left hand side of the equal sign because I want my quadratic equations to equal to 0. So this is giving me t squared minus 5t minus 6 is equal to 0. And same with my other quadratic. If I move over the minus or the positive 1t, it's t squared minus 1t minus 6 is equal to 0. And I now have to go off and solve those two quadratics once again. Again, they look straightforward. I don't think I need my minus b formula, so I'm going 2 brackets equal to 0, 2 brackets is equal to 0. And I have t multiplied by t is t squared. And once again, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to minus 6, add to minus 5. That is getting me minus 6 by positive 1. Minus 6 by positive 1, does that work? Minus 6 by 1 is minus 6, minus 6 plus 1 is minus 5. So that does work. So what are my two solutions for t? T minus 6 is equal to 0, so therefore t is equal to 6. t plus 1 is equal to 0, t is equal to negative 1. And don't forget, I have my second quadratic over here on the right hand side. So two numbers that multiply to negative 6 adds to negative 1. And that is minus 3 and a plus 2. Minus 3 multiplied by 2 is minus 6. Minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. So therefore, I have t minus 3 is equal to 0, t is equal to positive 3, and t plus 2 is equal to 0, and t is equal to negative 2. So therefore, my four solutions for possibilities of t are minus 2, minus 1, 3, and 6. And they are my final solutions for t. Thank you for watching another tutorial video from Tulla Maths. Make sure and subscribe.